So I wanted to do a bow and arrow sort of setup for this character. So I modeled up this bow and the arrow. Um, the first part of this video is going to be a time lapse of me modeling everything, like these two objects up and texturing them, and also creating the animations. I already have done like so many videos explaining all the Blender animations. I figured it was pretty redundant by now, so it's basically just an idle walk run animation while this character is aiming the bow. And then there's one animation where he's going from regular pose to aiming pose. So like a transition animation. So there's 4 animations. After that, after the time lapse, I'm going to implement everything in Unity. Hopefully, I get everything done in one video. My last series, I did a grappling series. I was hoping to get it done in one video, but I ended up doing 3 videos. Hopefully, this doesn't end up like that. Hopefully, I get everything done in this one video. Yeah, so the first part right after this is the time lapse, and then after that, I'll show you how I'm going to try and implement this in Unity. Okay. Okay, so I've imported the animations as well as the bow and arrow into Unity. So I'm just going to do the setup now. So I'm just going to go down here. First thing I'll start off with is in the animations. Got the 4 animations. The aiming idle is going to be looping, so I need to put loop time to true. Run is the same thing. Walk is the same thing. And the start aiming, which is this one right here. This one doesn't need to loop, it just does it once. Okay. One more thing that I need to do is I need to create some materials. I need to create bow material and arrow material. Bow material. I'll just turn down the shininess. And basically the same thing for the arrow. Just going to drag and drop the color into the albedo and drop down the shininess. The character's animator. I guess I need to create a new blend tree, and this one's going to be called bow. And I'll double click. I need 3 motion fields. So I'm going to find all these. So bow idle is 0. Walk is 0.5. And running is 1. So he's aiming, idle, 0.5 is walking, and then running. Okay, that's good. And I need to drag and drop the start aiming. Start aiming bow. So I'll do a boolean is aiming bow, and if this is true, I'm just going to play the animation first, and has no exit time. And his aiming bow is set to true. As soon as this animation plays, it automatically goes to this. So this is the animation. Actually, I should make it go this way too. Actually, no. This is wrong. I want to get rid of this. So this one, goes here when it's true, and then when it's false it bounces back. His aiming bow is false. And I'll create another one called trigger, or I'll create a trigger parameter. This will be start aiming bow, and this will be triggered from here when the start aiming bow is triggered. So it goes back if his aiming bow is false. Otherwise, if it's true, then it goes to this bow blend space where he's aiming while idle, walk, or running. This will be if his aiming bow is true. It goes back if it's false. So I think this should work. Next thing I need to do, open up the character prefab. And here I need to add both the bow and the arrow. So I'll start with the bow. And I'll parent this to the right or the left wrist. Oops. Clavicle. Bow. Another wrist, and then under the right wrist I'll put the arrow. Put the arrow. Why is this? That's better. I believe it was between his index and middle finger. And then put it all the way up like that. And I'll parent it to the wrist. For some reason all the position rotation skill gets all messed up. I don't know why. I'll just leave it like that. The next thing that I need to do is I'll go straight into scripts. So here, in the main character script, I'm going to start off by creating a couple booleans. I'll create boolean. I'm going to create a public boolean called bow equipped, and another boolean called is aiming bow. I want to create a method called bow and arrow. Public void bow and arrow. So this is constantly being triggered by the update, and I also need to create two public game objects. Public game object bow, public game object arrow. I'm going to hop back into the editor. So the arrow and the bow are set not active by default, and I also need to drag and drop the bow and arrow into these fields. So the bow goes here, and the arrow goes here, and this bow equipped boolean is going to be set like in the game. I'm just putting it here temporarily. It's just easier that way. So I'll put if bow equipped equals true, then bow dot set active true. Else if bow equipped equals false, bow dot set active is false. Okay. And when I'm just going to steal this here. If fire 1 is pressed, which is the left mouse button. If fire is pressed, no, wait a minute, I don't want fire 1, I want Yeah, I'll do fire one. So what's going to happen is he's standing there holding the bow, but as soon as I hold the left mouse button down, he starts aiming. But the arrow doesn't fire until I let go of the button, and then he goes back into regular mode. So if the button is pressed and bow equipped equals true, then I'll put what was the other boolean that I made? Is aiming bow. By default, it will be set to false. False. Is aiming bow is false. I'm not sure if I'm going to be needing this, but I'm going to make it anyways. Oh, sorry. Is aiming bow is true. Animator dot set trigger start aiming bow. Aiming bow. I need to start a coroutine or whatever. Start coroutine called set is aiming bow, and then let's copy and paste this. So the coroutine triggers this. Set is aiming bow. After 0.5 seconds, I'm going to do animator.setBool is aiming bow. Is aiming bow. So basically what's happening, it's playing that animation, that short animation to bring the bow up. That's 1 second long, but instead of waiting for 1 second, I'll just wait after half a second. Is aiming bow is true, so by the time this animation is done, it goes to that aiming idle animation, which is the blend tree. So else if input get button down up, button is let go, and bow equipped equals true, then is aiming bow is false. I don't need this set trigger anymore, and I don't need the coroutine, I just need to set this boolean to false. Okay, one thing that I forgot is when the button is pressed, um, the arrow set active is true, but as soon as he lets go the button, then it should be set to false because the arrow is flying, so the one in his hand should disappear. It should not be visible anymore, so I'm going to compile that. Okay, so I'm going to go into the scene, and if you saw my last series, I was doing like grappling with these ornaments, but both of these are he grapples these with the left mouse button as well. So I'm going to hide these for now. I don't need those, and I'm going to go to main character. First, I'm going to play with the bow equipped set to false, so nothing happens. So I just want to make sure nothing happens. So, whoops. So if I press the left mouse button, nothing happens, which is good. But if I go to here and click bow equipped to true, and then I play, I should start off with the bow in hand. So he's walking around with his hands down. This has to work, and it is not working. What did I do wrong? Bow arrow. Okay, I've actually got it working now. It was something really simple. I just had to, in the update function, I just had to move this bow and arrow up to a higher position. It was, for some reason, it was getting blocked down here. Originally I had it here. It's working now, but the one problem is if I press the button, animation has like a glitch. Like it doesn't play the whole animation, it like jumps. And I found out that it was this one here that needs to be deleted. So when start aiming bow, the trigger is triggered, then it goes this way to play this animation. But for some reason, this doesn't. This makes it bounce back, which I don't want. I thought it would override if his aiming bow was set true. Then I thought it would automatically go this way, but it doesn't. It goes back this way. So I'm going to delete that. So if I press the button now, the animation's nice and it plays the whole thing, and it's clearly legible, I guess. So, the only problem now is he's not aiming with the camera, and the camera should be closer to him while he's aiming. And then when I let go, I guess the arrow flies away. But he's constantly looking. He should be looking forward constantly until I let go of the button. So in order to do that, I need to go back into my prefab, and I have a whole bunch of cam go to locations. So I'm going to create one more. So the camera this way back here. So I'll call this aim bow cam go to location, and close this up. Where to go? I'm going to set the copy the position of the camera, and then I'll paste the position to this new empty that I created. Paste position, so it's the same location as the camera, but when the button is pressed, I want to push this forward when he's aiming, so that I'll push it forward and a little bit to the right, I guess. So I'm not sure what the exact position is, but I'll just play with it. So I want to create a empty, or sorry, public game object called aim bow cam go to location. Let's compile that. So I want to drag and drop this into the field as soon as possible in case I forget later. So this new position that I created is going to go in here, and then make sure that, yeah, that should be fine. One thing that I want to check is actually I'm going to create one more. Public game object cam original location. I'm going to compile that. I'm going to go back into the editor. Actually, I need to create one for the camera as well. Public game object cam. So this camera go to location, I'm just going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to rename it to cam original location, and I'm going to set it to copy the position, and I want to paste the position to here. Paste position. So when he's aiming the bow, the camera goes here, and when he lets go, then it goes back to the original position. So again, I'm going to drop all this stuff in so I don't forget. So cam original location goes in here, and cam goes in here. So now I can go back down to the bow and arrow method. So when the button is down, a couple of things I need to do is transform dot rotation, which is the rotation of the main character, equals quaternion dot Euler 0 camera rig dot transform dot Euler angles dot y, and I did not figure this out by myself. I found this somewhere. I do not know enough about this to figure this stuff out by myself. So when the button's down, he's constantly rotating the same rotation of the camera rig setup. However, so he's rotating to the camera parent, not the actual camera itself, but the camera itself moves. So cam dot transform dot position equals vector 3 move towards aim bow can go to location dot transform dot position actually no, sorry, cam dot transform dot position. So this first one states its original position, and then this states where it wants to go to. The camera wants to go to this position. Comma 10f times time dot delta time. So that's the camera itself moving into position. And this one here is the character rotating to the camera rig rotation. I'm just going to go back here for a second, and I'm going to see so the camera rotator. So I was just checking something else. I got a really high value here for 200, but down here, for a thing that I'm working on right now, I've only got 10. That's okay, I'll just leave it like that for now. But when the button is let go, then the camera moves to cam original location. Okay, I'm gonna hope that this works. I'm going to try this out real quick. Okay. So if I press the button, I'll let go. Oh, I need to see what's happening. Okay, so this is where this aiming bow is true comes in handy. At first I wasn't sure where it was going to be used, but the reason why this isn't going all the way to position is because it only fires like briefly when the button is pressed. But I need it to be, so when the button is pressed, is aiming bow is equal to true. So if is aiming bow equals true, then do some stuff. Else if is aiming bow is false. So all the stuff that I just did, I'm going to put it in here. I want to erase it from here. I think this has to be it. Okay. Did I get it backwards? Something's backwards here. If aiming bow is true, why is it doing that? It's almost backwards. I don't know why. Okay, so apparently it doesn't work if I manipulate the main camera, so I decided to just do the camera rig. So I can go and delete this game object that I just created for the cam because I won't need it. So instead of manipulating the cam, I'm manipulating camera rig, which is this whole thing instead of just the camera. It's the parent that I'm manipulating, and it's a game object that I created before, so it's already there. And I'm using that to position it in the aiming position or the cam original position. So the cam original position is at the feet of the player because the camera position is there. But when he's aiming, it goes. Originally, this was somewhere back here, behind him to the right. But because the camera the camera parent transforms all the way up here, the camera needs to move forward and right. So put it there. It turns out I can push it even more. So now everything starts off really good, like just normally. As soon as I press the button, the camera gets close, and whenever I rotate the camera with my mouse, he follows too. He rotates with the camera. As soon as I let go, then he's back into normal mode. The only thing that I need to do now is as the camera rotates up and down, I need to add rotation to his maybe his spine bone or something. I can do that later with there's a way to do it. I forget the name. It's transform. It's called rig builder or something. Okay, I just lost a bit of my recording, so I'll just explain what I just did. Basically, I created two. Whoops. I created two arrow prefabs. One's static and one's moving. Right now I'm dealing with the moving one, so when I open that up, I created a script. And in the script, I have a little, in the update function, I have a transform.translate vector3 forward times time dot delta time times 5. What that does is it makes it move forward. In the main character, I created an instantiate point right here, which is 1 unit in front of him and 1.8 units above, which is about where the arrow in his right hand is. It's about up here. And I created two fields, one for arrow instantiate point, and then for the actual arrow move, which is the prefab. The reason I use the prefab is that I just dump the prefab once and it just keeps on referring back to this. So the main character, I made two game objects, arrow move and arrow instantiate point. The reason why I called it arrow move is because I already have an arrow, and this one refers to the arrow in his right hand. So I need to create another one with a different name. And when the player presses the button and then lets go, get button up, then used instantiate arrow move, which is the arrow that moves, and the arrow instantiating point position and arrow instantiating point rotation. So if I go play now, if I let go, you can see the arrow that goes, whoops. That's fine actually. So what I want to do now is I want to go back into the arrow move prefab, not the arrow static. In the arrow move, I'm going to create a capsule collider. Direction is going to be in the z-axis, radius, and height, basically the same as the arrow itself, and it's going to be a trigger. So back in the arrow script, I'm going to do public void on trigger enter collider other if other dot game. No, actually I don't need this. As long as it hits something, instantiate. Need to create game object, which is going to be the arrow static. So if it hits a wall, then this one's going to destroy itself and it's going to instantiate a static one in the wall, or it could be like on a character, like an enemy character or something. But for now, I'll do just walls. This will be called public game object arrow static. So instantiate arrow static transform dot position and transform dot rotation. And then so this refers to the position and rotation of this arrow that's moving in the air. So it's going to instantiate this in that position, in the rotation of this. And then I'm going to destroy game object. So back in the editor, the arrow script, there's a field now, so I'm going to drag and drop the arrow static prefab into this field. Okay, so this isn't working, so I'm going to create a rigid body, and I'm going to freeze rotation. Oops, and I'm going to uncheck use gravity. I think it might have to do with the fact that I'm using the transform.translate. I think that maybe ignores the collision. So I'm going to do rigid body RB equals get component rigid body. And instead of using this here, I'm going to use RB.velocity equals transform forward times, let's just say 5 for now. So I'll compile that. It works now. So wherever I shoot and it hits something, it destroys itself and it instantiates some static arrow. So I'll do it again here, do it here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, one thing that I'm going to do, one change that I'm going to make is I want it to go deeper into the wall before it instantiates the static arrow. So I'm going to make the capsule collider smaller. So it has to go a certain distance in order to destroy itself. So finally now, let's go try using this wall. We'll put to this side where there's more light. So I move to the wall. As you can see, it goes a little bit deeper. So that's pretty good. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I'm gonna stop here. I think there's a few things that I can change, like his waist rotation while he's aiming. I also need to create a reticle, or what is it, a crosshair for the center of the screen. And I need to create, I need to make it so that when there's a raycast going through the reticle, like straight into the screen, whenever that raycast hits, the arrow needs to rotate towards, needs to move towards that location. So right now, if I put a reticle in the screen, that whatever that reticle is hitting, whatever that crosshair is hitting, is not where the arrow is going to go. So the arrow, the path, the arrow is going to have a bit of a curve, but I'm going to save that for the next video. I think this video is going to be too long as it is, so I'm going to cut it off here. So please stay tuned for the next video. Okay, thanks.